Kristaps Porzingis has been out of action for over a month, but it's just been confirmed that the Unicorn is going to be available for Game 1 of the Finals. In this video, we're going to look at how Porzingis' presence affects the Celtics on both the offensive and defensive end, and what adjustments the Mavs will make in response. Now, Porzingis this year has done a majority of his work from behind the three. As a shooter, Porzingis checks all the boxes, having range, a quick release, and being able to shoot on the move. You'll see the Celtics here initially use him as an off-ball screener, and Kristaps from this spot has the footwork to relocate behind the line and settle his feet for this jumper.
Catch and shoot and drew.
Boston also loves to use Porzingis as a pick and pop man because they have multiple players who are capable of turning the corner and making plays off the dribble. The defense briefly has to show two defenders to keep the ball from coming downhill, but that opens up these easy spray out threes. Another big factor to Kristaps' spot-up shooting is going to be his size. At 7'2" with a 7'6" wingspan, Porzingis is a towering shooter, and in order for the defense to really contest his shot, they have to step out and get in his airspace, which at times is still not enough.
Scoreboard yet, Porzingis.
Now, Porzingis also does a good chunk of his scoring from the post. So far this year, he's shooting over 61% on all his post-ups. And this is where he's got the size and touch to simply turn into jumpers from over the top. If the defense switches or Kristaps has a mismatch, Boston will just space the floor and give him room to work. And while Kristaps doesn't have the strength to be a bully ball type of post player, he has developed a pretty good pivot game to create space into his jumper. You'll see him here get the switch off the screen, and notice how Porzingis is going to back down and work his man to the free throw line, to then pick up and pivot his back foot through and bump his man back, giving him the space to rise up. Another one of his favorite moves is this low gather into his shot, where he sweeps the ball up and through the defense's arms to draw the foul. And this naturally pulls the defense's arms up to avoid fouling, which then allows Kristaps to use that length to simply shoot over. So because Porzingis is such an efficient post scorer, the defense commonly throws multiple defenders at him, which then opens up his passing. When dealing with double teams, Porzingis' size allows him to scan over the defense and make these cross-court passing reads. The Celtics also like to use Kristaps as a passing hub, where he initiates the offense at the top of the key, while Boston runs some off-ball screening and cutting actions. And from these spots, Kristaps is a pretty advanced passer. One of his best passes is this inside hand pocket pass, where Porzingis takes a dribble to his left and transfers the ball to his right hand to knife the pass through. You'll see him here catch the ball at the slot. And as Jaylen Brown cuts off him and dives towards the basket, watch how Porzingis is going to wrap the ball around his man to the left, leading Brown perfectly to the rim. So to quickly sum up Porzingis' offensive role, he's primarily a stretch 5 who fits in really well with Boston's spaced-out offense. He's got the ability to attack mismatches in the post and play make from a variety of spots. So the next question is, how will the Mavs defend him? Now, to start off, I do think Porzingis' outside shooting is going to give Dallas a bunch of problems. When looking at the Mavs' most recent series against the Wolves, they didn't have to deal with 5 shooters on the court at all times, which allowed both Gafford and Lively to hover around the paint, adding an extra layer of resistance around the basket. But going into the finals, Dallas's defense is going to get spread out by Boston's shooting, and we saw that in full effect in their last matchup on March 1st. Where Porzingis was able to step out and punish the Mavs bigs for collapsing the paint.
In the last 25 years, which is when it's been trapped.
So Porzingis' floor spacing is obviously going to give the Mavs a bunch of problems, but not only because of his shot making, but also because Kristaps' shooting threat is going to pull Dallas' rim protectors out of the paint. Take this play for example. Notice how Jason Tatum is isolating in the post, with Porzingis spotting up at the top of the key, and that shooting threat pulls Lively out of the paint, giving Tatum room to work into this shot with no extra resistance in the lane. We can see the same effect on this play, where Porzingis spotting up pulls Lively out of the paint, giving Brown all this open space to attack into. I also see the Celtics spamming these pick and pops, where again the defense is going to have to pick their poison by either showing 2 towards the ball and giving up an open 3, or switching and allowing Kristaps to attack mismatches in the post. Now defensively, the Mavs could try to play some zone, and they did try this for a few possessions in their last matchup, but it was pretty clear that Boston had too much skill and shot making all over the court, which led to a bunch of wide open looks. So offensively, I think Porzingis' floor spacing is going to be an issue for Dallas. But Porzingis is also going to have his hands full trying to guard Dallas on the other side of the ball. In their last matchup, Dallas was putting Kristaps in pick and roll over and over again. And simply put, there's no perfect way to guard both Luca and Irving in these actions. Both of them can shoot the ball from range, while having the pace and navigation to create shots in the mid-range. Plus, they also have the passing chops to punish aggressive coverages.
We have so much talent, and I'm just here to lift.
If the Celtics plan on leaving Porzingis back and drop, I think the screen navigation of Holiday and Derek White is going to be huge. Being able to work their way around the pick and get back attached to the ball to contest their shot. Now, even though both White and Holiday are elite at fighting through and around screens, I still think it's an uphill battle to expect them to consistently work around these screens in a 7-game series, because Luca and Kyrie are really well-rounded players, and I think they're going to eat Boston alive if they consistently leave Porzingis and drop.
Doncic, step back three is good.
So outside of playing drop, what else can the Celtics do? You obviously don't want to switch and leave Porzingis on an island. While I do think he has underrated mobility for his size, it's still not a recipe for success to have him defending Luca and Kyrie one-on-one. And it's also going to be tough for Boston to blitz, because Luca and Kyrie have the passing chops to pick apart the rotating defense, which will either lead to dunks or open threes. So in their last matchup, the adjustment Boston made was to completely take Porzingis out of the pick and roll action by matching him up with PJ Washington. And while PJ has had a great postseason, he's still not the kind of player that's going to consistently punish a mismatch off the dribble. And if Dallas tried using him as a screener, PJ isn't a real above the rim lob threat, which takes away a big element of Luca's pick and roll game. So this allowed the Celtics to switch pretty much any ball screen, which took away an immediate advantage for the Mavs to attack. Notice on this play how Tatum is going to switch and pick up Lively, and if Luca decides to use this screen, Boston can comfortably switch it. And another benefit to Porzingis not defending these ball screens is that he can now hover around the basket and provide another layer of resistance in the lane. And I think this is going to be Boston's clear recipe for success. It's all about keeping Kristaps out of actions on the perimeter and let him hover around the basket, where he can use his height and length to alter shots. So overall, I think Porzingis' skill set takes Boston's offense to a different level. He's got the ability to space out and knock down shots well behind the line, plus he also has some on-ball scoring juice to attack mismatches in the post. But defensively, I think Boston is going to have to find ways to keep him in the paint and not allow Dallas to pull him out into any pick and rolls. If you enjoyed this breakdown, please like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments who your pick is to win the NBA Finals. The Kids here.